In the news this week, we've done well. Australia's top doctor gives us his 2020 retrospective.
The price of honesty. Zac Kirkup shredded by media after depression confession.
Rolled foul. The Liberals slammed Murdoch Drive Connection changes as it recommits to Roll 8.
And on Western Perspective, we continue with part 2 of the Recap 2020 interview series.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Leung and Sarah Smith.
Good evening. Those stories in a moment, but first tonight, WA Police and Premier have expressed their outrage after a shooting incident at the Kwinana Motorplex, which left former rebel bikie boss Nick Martin dead and 2 people injured. They include a 31-year-old patched gang member and a 5-year-old boy who's innocent. The shooting happened just after 8:40 p.m. on Saturday night in front of innocent crowds. This morning, WA Police Commissioner Chris Dawson assured the public that an extensive criminal investigation is underway, while Premier Mark McGowan says the shooting incident is disgusting and disgraceful.
Children could have been killed. Families could have been killed. This is a unbelievably appalling episode, and the perpetrators will be caught by the West Australian Police. They need to know that this is an episode that we do not want to see repeated.
It's been a year unlike anything most of us have been through before, but Australia's top doctor says young people have gone through a lot and dealt with it better than most. With 2020 drawing to a close, I caught up with the National President of the Australian Medical Association, Omar Khorshid, to get his retrospective on young people, the government, and what the COVID-19 pandemic taught us about ourselves.
It's been quite an extraordinary year, hasn't it? The once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic, first in proper one really in 100 years, has taught us a lot, I think, about how we value our health. It's tested us as a community. It's shown us that we're actually willing to, as Australians, to do things that are inconvenient for us because they're good for others, for the vulnerable in the community, and I think that's a really heartening lesson. We've also learned a few new skills, fist bumps and elbow, I'm not sure what you call the elbow thing, but whatever that thing is we do with our elbows. And really quite an extraordinary year, but one I think that none of us will forget in a hurry.
Do you believe our young people are very resilient this year?
I think young people have been tested this year, whether you're at school, you're at university, or you're out and about in the workplace. There have been huge changes, stresses with the worry about job security, unemployment, your whole world changing beneath your feet. Worries about opportunities for travel and all the things you might have looked forward to, even if it's leavers celebrations at the end of year 12. So much disruption. But I think the good news is we're now nearing the end of the pandemic with vaccines on the horizon. I think people see the light at the end of the tunnel and are looking forward to 2021 being a little bit of a different year.
Looking at the federal level, because you are the national president of the AMA, how do you rate the government's handling of the coronavirus? Was it well coordinated or not so well coordinated?
Look, it's easy to be critical of governments, but at the end of the day, here we are in Western Australia, in fact in Australia, having dealt with this virus better than almost anywhere else in the world. We've kept our economy going. Many of the jobs that were lost early on have come back. Most of our population's been safe, and apart from a few missteps along the way, and yes, government have needed to be nudged by the AMA, amongst others, to do the right thing, but we've got there in the end, and I think once this pandemic is over, we'll be able to look back and say what an extraordinary job, not just the government did, but all Australians did.
At a press conference this week, Zac Kirkup, the 33-year-old Liberal leader, faced a gauntlet of brutal questions about whether his confession of a struggle with depression should disqualify him from the leadership. But it's a line of questioning unlikely to strike a chord with many young voters, many of whom face their own mental health challenges.
For a generation used to candid discussions about mental health and peer groups where any given member might be in therapy or on medication, Kirkup's candour is likely to be not only familiar but welcome. Kit Sanders reports.
The pressure of a 3-month election campaign has clearly affected Mr Kirkup, with tears in his eyes as he spoke about his family and the trials of politics. Mr Kirkup discussed how hard the election will be, with WA facing an uncertain future and the Liberal Party facing the most popular Premier in history, Mark McGowan.
I think most people understand that, like everyone else in the West Australian community who has those difficult times, it's important to reach out and to get help. But I'm committed to this job, absolutely, and to the process of making sure that I stand up and represent not just the people of Dawesville, but stand as the leader of the Liberal Party, together with the team, to make sure that we can hold this government to account.
Kirkup defended himself in a press conference after admitting he had suffered from depression.
If there is a situation where people see this now as that I'm too human, or that something has happened last summer which makes me, it is a concern for them, please know that I have got through the darkest of times.
The 33-year-old has been working in politics since 2006 with only 3 years of private sector experience. His first pre-selection was in 2016 and he is the youngest Liberal leader ever. Political expert Ian Cook had this to say.
Once again, it's all just so disappointing. It's just old-style politics, it's sad politics, it's major party politics. It's the sort of politics people say they're sick of. They say they don't want to see any more of. And yet they let media, they let journalists run these stupid, pathetic, old-fashioned lines that just don't serve current purposes.
Despite his working class roots, this has left many wondering if he has either the political or real-world experience to get the job done.
For many veteran political reporters and commentators, Kirkup's emotional interview signs the death warrant on the Liberals' election hopes. However, his open display of emotion may be a positive sign to some voters. Some still question if McGowan's popularity can last until March, and the real question is if voters prefer emotional authenticity or experience and popularity. Kit Sanders, WAMN News.
The Liberal Party has hit out at the McGowan government's changes to the Murdoch Drive Connection, warning of worsening travel times and congestion. It comes as the party recommits to Row 8 and 9, promising the highway extension if elected. Nelson Liu reports.
A disaster for commuters, a road causing drivers problems.
So the road has failed local residents.
Murdoch Drive Connection has been designed to improve commutes in the southern suburbs, but the Liberal Party and residents have slammed it for its poor construction.
They are describing a situation where, as a local resident, a road in their backyard can't be used effectively.
Designs show the connection would have given drivers 2 direct access points to Roe Highway and Kwinana Freeway from Bibra Drive and Farrington Road. But they've been removed in construction, forcing dangerous U-turns and creating traffic.
There's increased congestion and created rat runs because of the inappropriate way they've handled the design.
A petition has been launched calling for Transport Minister Rita Saffioti to change the design. It follows the Liberal Party's recommitment to Row 8 and Row 9 and goal to start it in its first 100 days in office.
And we believe that it is the solution to address the real road safety concerns in the southern suburbs.
The state government has criticised the Liberals' Row 8 plan once again, claiming Labor is fulfilling its road goals.
I'm all into getting outcomes, reducing congestion and also supporting the economy, and that's what we're out there doing.
But the Liberals say Row 8 is the major solution.
This issue would not be here if Row 8 and 9 had been put through.
Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
An Indigenous medical student has been recognised for acknowledging the health needs of the Aboriginal community, winning the AMA's 2020 Aboriginal Scholarship. Physiotherapist Lloyd Diggins switched to medicine while working in Arnhem Land, choosing to become a GP after seeing the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in WA hospitals. The association says Lloyd is a deserving recipient who hopes to provide a culturally appropriate health service.
Working out there as a physio, I thought there's more that I could offer that would make people want to see the doctor and not come into the emergency department and then see who's working and leave because they don't feel safe there. So that motivated me to enter medicine.
A new dedicated emergency services radio network is on the cards to improve safety and protection for first responders and the community. $60 million will be invested into the first phase of the statewide network, which will be used by frontline agencies, including WA Police, the Department of Fire and Emergency Services and the Justice Department. The McGowan government says it will ensure coordinated communications which were never before possible.
A groundbreaking research into fungus is being done here in Perth. CSIRO postdoctoral researcher Dr. Chingbo Hu is unlocking the mysteries of fungus able to detect gold. This could mean that the fungus that absorbs gold particles could be used to detect hidden gold deposits without typical drilling processes. This could one day be a cheaper and cleaner mining alternative. Dr. Hu is already 5 years into his research and is hoping for his results to be again soon, already having been published in the world-renowned journal Nature.
A very expensive tool for mining company. But our method can tell company or mining industry the area that rich in gold. So this can help very much for that point.
Over the last week, approximately 250 million people in India have been on strike, protesting agricultural laws that they say will leave Indian farmers in poverty. Dozens of trade unions and political organisations are backing the strikes, with protesters saying they will not give in until the laws are repealed. There have been claims that Delhi Chief Minister is under house arrest to prevent him joining the farmers in support of their protest. A prototype of Spacex's Starship rocket has exploded in an unmanned test flight this week. But company founder Elon Musk seems unbothered, tweeting "Mars, here we come," just 10 minutes after the crash. SpaceX denies that the mission was a failure, saying in a statement that success is not measured by completion of specific objectives, but rather how much we can learn.
A year of ups and downs has been rounded off in fine form this week with the Alinta Christmas pageant in the city. The event was a bit different this year to comply with COVID precautions, with ticketed attendance and the parade taking place on Langley Park on the Perth foreshore. With food and ice cream trucks available to keep cool on the warm night, families gathered to watch the spectacular display that has been a staple of Perth's festive season for more than 40 years.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website and social media pages.
No matter where you're watching, Sarah and myself wish you good health and good night.
Take care.